This is a story about the Russell farm. It was a snowy, blizzardy day when we walked to the Russell farm. We met Jim and Sarah. Thank you, Jim and Sarah, for the field trip.
My class walked to the Russell Sugar Bush on a frosty, cold day. First, we saw the baby goats. They all had different patterns on their coats. One had a black coat with white legs. One was white and very curly. The black one stood up on the fence. If you put your finger in the fence, you would feel little gums nibbling on your fingers. We had a great time petting the baby goats.
When our class got to the Russell farm, we got to see the adult goats. Some people got to feed the adult goats hay.
Some were white, some were black, some were white and black. And only one was reddish orange.
We zoomed to the horses as soon as we saw them. We all got to pet them.
The horses felt soft and fuzzy.
The horses pull the wagon into the sugar bush. The horses are strong.
Next, we ran and saw the chickens. Well, some of us. There were millions of chickens, but really 65 chickens. They sounded like a singing orchestra.
James told us all about the gathering tank that the horses pull. The horses pull the gathering tank tree to tree to gather sap from the buckets.
We hiked up the mountain, and after what seemed like hours, we were at the top. James said we could look for sap. Isaac only got to look at 3, but they were full to the top.
We went to the sugar bush. We climbed a hill. It took a long time. When we got up, we watched James talk about sugaring. We ran to the sugar shack. Inside, the sap wasn't boiling, and I was really bummed. The sap was not boiling because it was too cold.
When we were done looking at the sap, we got to go inside the sugar house. There was a huge tank full of frozen sap. If the weather was warm enough, it would flow through long tubes, but it was too cold. It was like an ice skating pond for mice. To me, it was my favorite part.
Once we looked around the sugar shack, almost everyone spotted the evaporator. About all of us ran to the other side and found a faucet. Mrs. O'Brien said the faucet drains the maple syrup. James explained that a ladle helps siphon off the sap. If the sap comes down in a sheet, it is maple syrup.
We were coming out of the sugar house, standing in the cold snow. Brrr! When James came over to us holding some different colored syrup in little bottles. The bottles were lined up darkest to lightest. He told us this is called grading the syrup. Light syrup is fancy. A little darker syrup is grade A, and a little darker still is medium amber. Second darkest is dark amber, and darkest is grade B. Grade B has the most maple taste. Even though we couldn't taste any syrup, it was still cool watching James grade it. Then James showed us the filters. They take out things people would not want, like sticks and dirt.
When it was time for us to go, we said thank you to James and Sarah. When we got back to our classroom, Miss O'Brien said, "Who wants syrup on ice cream?" We screamed, "Me!" We all had a great time.